I gotta welcome Turkey Tick and i3utm into the group. They snuck on in, but I gotta give them an official welcome. Welcome.
Welcome, man.
I'm kind of curious. Should I? Thanks, everybody. Should I continue with this video tree? I don't know how to combine video and poetry. It's kind of hard to do. It's a Portman too. That's not easily rolling off the tongue. So if any poets can combine those two words into one word, let me know.
Yeah. So if anybody doesn't know, IU3 had posted a video of him reading an excellent poem earlier today. Did you want to read that again? Because you are more than welcome to.
I have to be in the right mindset to do so.
I completely understand.
That's why I recorded the video. When I recorded the video, I sounded exactly as I wrote it at that time I wrote it. So that emotion that I'm going to be reading to you tonight probably won't be there.
Yeah.
Can we do won't be there. And to me, that's how I present my poetry. Is it's a one-time, real-time type of thing.
Yep.
I said a poem at my mother's funeral. It was not written. It was not memorized. I did it on the spot. I did it in a cadence to where my mother would speak. And it was about 5 or so minutes long. And I did it I didn't screw up. But that to me is real poetry. When you don't memorize it, when it's in real time, and when it's with a certain emotion. And I can only do that once. Since it's like jazz or improvisation, not one piece sounds like the other, because in that moment of creation, in that moment of emotion, unless you are a robot and exactly know the parameters to create it, and then you can create that set emotion, you as a human are not going to do that. So that's why I appreciate those that do second readings or readings of their poetry. But my poetry has a certain edge to it. Hence, that's why I like darker types of poetry. And I probably won't do that as often, because I know a lot of people in this time frame, in this age, in this era, in this slice of humanity, a darker poetry might have a more sinister connotation to it, simply because people just don't want to hear that at this time regarding certain societal events that had happened or is happening. I myself kind of take an anarchistic type of view. There's going to be bad feelings. There's going to be bad emotions. I just take that and make it a point instead of making an act or trolling or type of violence or whatever. And I do it very briefly for 5 or so minutes. That's my anger. That is my madness. And then I release it into that poetry, into that video you just saw. It's a minute and a half. I could have done it longer. And I might consider that. But I cannot see myself getting angry for more than 5 minutes. If I do, something's wrong with me. So that's why my surname, my pen name for my poetry is Logical. And I take a logical approach to poetry that not many people take. And that's why I appreciate, Mac, that you want me to do a reading. And it's not because I don't want to. It's just because the emotion behind that poem will not be there. So, said my piece. I apologize. I give you back to the floor.
You do have it linked down below, though, right?
Yeah, I have it linked. It's an image.
Okay.
He posted
sign off. I linked it to the poetry page. And it's there, but it's an image. It's not necessarily something I can post text-wise, because I took a screenshot of it.
And I recommend everybody to watch it, because it is a very interesting poem. It is dark. You can hear. I heard that darkness. It's interesting how you performed it. I heard it in how you said "you," and it was performed with such disdain that I thought it was very interesting. And I know some people don't like dark poetry, but I think you're right in that it's a way to process the darkness in this world, and that it's an appropriate and interesting and compelling way to do that. And sometimes I feel that like sometimes like the things I write are too dark, but generally speaking, people are pretty they can handle it. And that's good that they can handle it. And that gives us more freedom as writers. And I appreciate that you posted that poem.
Yeah, I do
No, you're
too.
welcome. I appreciate everybody watching it or reading it. I tend to focus on aspects of my emotion in a pinpoint manner, to where once I write or talk about that poetry, my anger's released that way. It's therapeutic. It's medicinal in such a way to where I don't think a therapist could help, because they don't know my own thoughts. Even if I tell them my own thoughts, they don't know my own thoughts every single day, every single hour. Only I know that. And it's a good way to get out the anger in a logical, ethical fashion, at least in my humble opinion. So
I think it's legit. I'm 100% behind you, man, and I appreciate that you posted that. And I think it's cool the way you did it with the video. That's not just audio, that's video, and then the video with your glasses and the lights on your glasses. There's like this blur as it goes on. It's mesmerizing.
Yeah, I've chosen the filter I chose for that poem was fire. And that would, if you see the video with that filter in mind, then you can realize, yeah, that was a poignant approach to the word you. And I would have done that had I could have done that and just when I said the word you, but I'm still learning this program, and it's like takes way too long to edit that video. So I didn't want to waste an hour for a minute and a half.
Yeah.
So I just did the whole video. And what I'd like, and I'm not always can do this, but I would like to use a filter that represents my emotion at that time, or that poetry at that time. So you may see a different filter from a different poem that I'm still working out whether I want to read poetry or I want to write poetry. Reading poetry, you have to guess the speaker's intent. Writing poetry, you already know your intent, but sometimes writing out the right words is always difficult. So I'm trying to balance between those two, and it's not always an easy balance.
Yeah, as a writer, the intent, but performing the intent is a completely different thing. And I feel that also sometimes with performance, actually every time with performance, there's an element where you don't know what you're actually going to do. And you have to have that element in there, or else it's going to be forced and contrived. With performance, there has to be a little bit of surprise even for yourself. So it's like kind of discovering the intent as you go.
I feel like we're okay. I read the lyrics, but I'd love to see this. Can you screen share for us? You ready for this? Unlike Mac, I know right where my beer is.
God damn it! When I heard that, when I heard that beer pop, I was like,
All right. Is everyone ready?
Yep.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1. You do not know me. You do not know my work. You do not know this person. You will never know this person. You cannot know yourself, you see. You have not known me. You pacify yourself with alcohol, means, anger, and ego. You then go shooting me. And then you're back to square one, you see. You. My industry. You humiliates me in front, never in back. You do not know how to behave or act like someone I know. Now you are someone I used to know and are empty. You. I come to you now, knowing that you know nothing unless I am here. I come to you now knowing that you are never going to know me. You will never know me. You. Because you have yet to know yourself. You. And that is it.
Yeah. Wow. There's a lot of emotion there, man.
Yeah, man.
Hopefully you can hear that and see that, everyone.
Right on, man. Right on.
Any thoughts?
Man.
I'll have to take in.
It was just, what, 4 stanzas?
Yep.
Not a very long point. It's very short.
Yeah, it's focused on this you. And that's the interesting bit of like wondering who is it addressing? Is it addressing me? You know, or are you, but I feel like it's not addressing me. It's addressing this. I feel like almost like this other on the internet that you find. Because that's when I feel that the kind of vibes that you're putting out as far as you do not know me. I feel that when I'm on the internet and anonymous. Usually when I'm on Reddit, that's how I feel. Actually, to be honest, to be strictly honest, and the repetition on you and the focus on you kind of makes it abstract in that kind of sense. It's interesting. It's an interesting perspective that it puts a speaker in.
Yeah, who do you kind of view as the you there, i3? How do you view that? I mean, it's go ahead.
I took 2 approaches of it. One approach is a particular person I had in mind when I wrote this poem, and myself. Those 2 people could be one or the other, and that's all I'll say.
Interesting. So yourself, I mean, when you look at yourself, I mean, I didn't take it from that perspective, I guess, but that's an interesting way to digest that. You know, like
Remember, Lee, I'm speaking into a web camera. I'm looking at myself when I read this poem in the video.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I saw it.
I see my reflection in the screen.
Yeah, and the way you foreshadowed the last line about you cannot know me because you do not know yourself right at the beginning, and having it come back to that made it bring up the idea that you're talking to someone else, but you're also talking to yourself at the same time, in a certain sense.
It could either be my past self, my current self, or my future self.
Yeah.
But I also think this goes out to that anon on the internet, you know, that that fucker.
Yeah.
Person who comes by and calls you racist or whatever, and you're like, fuck you. You don't know me.
Fuck you.
But I could have said that in my poem, and it was sort of a brush off of them. But this poem's not a brush off. It's a directness.
It's a direct address.
It's a confrontation.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's a stop in your tracks. I'm not going to flight or fight. I'm going to present your own words back to you. I want you to respond back. I already responded. I responded by saying you. At least that's how I would interpret it, but sometimes it's hard to interpret emotion.
I think it's hard to interpret emotion all the time, personally.
My emotions tend to be the same facial pattern. I tend to internalize my emotion.